Hey, what's up coders, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll show you how to integrate Firebase in your Flutter application and also show you how to retrieve data from Firestore. Well, the video is going to be very simple, interesting, but at the same time very useful if you're developing app with a backend. So before we start with the implementation or the demo, there is a series of instructions that you need to follow, which is basically the setup process, like adding few dependencies or getting your project set up on the Firebase console. And also I'm going to cover another section called errors, because whenever you're doing this, that is adding dependencies or setting up your project, you come across few errors and they are very common when you do that. And I'm also going to show you how to tackle them and the links related to that where they have provided a solution. So I'll leave a link in the description with all those details. So moving on to the UI part, the UI is a very simple list view, and this list view contains just three parameters. One is the image, title, and the subtitle, and this bookmark. So all the details that you see here are retrieved from the Firestore. Well, in my upcoming videos, I will definitely do videos related to the CRUD operation, that is like updating the Firestore or deletion or creation of new post, so something related to that. So as of now, we are just fetching the data and setting up the project. Before I start with the implementation, first thing what you have to do is just create a Flutter project where you would get the sample increment counter app. So keep that ready. So once you're done with it, open your browser and then look for this URL, which is console.firebase.google.com. So when you do that, it would prompt you to sign in. So make sure that you sign in and then click on add project that you see here. So when you click on add project, you get this pop-up asking you to provide the project name. So here I'm going to use a sample project, so which is called Flutter sample, and then you need to make sure that the checkbox are checked and then click on create project. So this would take a second to set it up. So there you go. So once the project is ready, you need to click on continue. So this is the screen that you would see. So first thing what you have to do is you have to select the app that you're building. Either it's an iOS or an Android. So in my case, it's an Android. So I'm going to click on this. So here you need to register your app. So first thing, you need the package name. So I'm just going to show you that. So if you look here, you can see the package name. You can post it here. Next, you can give app nickname. It's optional. And there's also this SHA, which is also optional, but it is required if you're using a Google sign-in or something like that. So definitely click on this and read this link to find out more about this. So once you're done with it, you can say register app. Once you've registered the app, you would get this JSON file with all the setting details. All you have to do is download this file and add it inside your app folder. So there you go. You can see the file that's been added here. So make sure that it's added inside the app folder. So after you're done with it, click on next. It gives you a set of instructions that you need to follow. So first thing, you need to add this class path in your project level build Gradle. And also you need to add these plugins and this particular dependency. So I'm going to show you all these three in the project. So the first thing was first you need to add the plugin here, and then you need to add the Firebase core dependency, and in the other one you need to add the Google service. So this is the basic setup that you need to do. So once you're done with it, if you're using Android Studio, you need to click on sync now and then move on to the next. So after you're done with it, it's going to check if your app is able to communicate with the server. So in that case, what you have to do is, in case if you're running your emulator with the initial setup of the counter app, just reinstall it and rerun the project. When you do that, it says successfully connected. You would get this green button highlighted, and then it says move on to the console. So since I've already done this, I'm not going to show you this. So I'm going to click on skip this step. So once your project is set up, you would be routed to this screen. Now, so here we are just going to set up the Firestore database. So what we're going to do is click on the database link that you see on the left corner, top corner. So click on that. So here you would see the database. So here I'm going to use Firestore. So next, click on Create Firestore. And here you have two modes, either in the locked mode or in the test mode. Since we are developing demo apps, we will just use the test mode. So just click on it, which will say allow read and write. So anyone can do that. So click on enable. There you go. So once you're done with it, you will be able to see here an option called Cloud Firestore. Make sure that you're using Cloud Firestore and not the real-time database. So first thing, you have 4 tabs here. So let's move on to the first one, which is the data tab. Here everything is a collection in the Firestore. So in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a collection called post, because it contains post related to some tech news. So I'm going to say post, and then I'm going to create next. Now the next thing that you see is the document. So inside the post you would have individual documents, which is your individual articles. So either you can give a ID or you could give an auto ID generated. So it's totally up to you. You can read the instructions also here, auto ID here. And then I'm going to give the fields that I'm looking for. So the first one is the title. It's a string, and then I can enter a few details here. And the second one is the subtitle, and you can also choose the type of data that you are feeding in here. And the third one is the image. So this is how my 3 details are being set up here. So I'll move on to the project where I have the real data. So this is just a sample data that I've created to show you how to set up the project on the Firebase. All right, so let me get that project open and I'll show you all the details. All right, so this is the app that I'm using here, or this is the project that I have created where the collection name is post, and I've added a few documents, and each document has the detail that is getting displayed on my emulator. So it's the same detail that's displayed here. Now, this is the Firebase part. As I mentioned earlier in this video that I would be discussing about the errors that I came across while setting up. So before that, you'll also need to add this plugin, which is called the Cloud Firestore. And I'm using the latest version. Here, the latest version seems to be 0.9.13. So I'm using this. Make sure that you add those details in your pub spec. So I've added them here. You can see it. All right, so this is the basic setup to integrate your Firebase. Now the errors that I came across was this one, first one. So I got this Android X related issues where it was crashing, and here's the link where it tells you how to migrate your Flutter app to Android X. So I just followed these instructions where it tells you to add these files in your properties, then append it with these details, and make sure that you don't use any more com.android, instead use Android X. Just go through these details and you will be able to sort it out. And the next error that I came across was this one, where I used the latest plugin but still my app was failing. Then you have a lot of people actually working on it, and in fact they've worked on this issue and also provided what you need to do in order to fix it. And also one of the fix that I used was this one. Let me show you. Okay, this one. This actually helped me to fix it. So please go through this link as well and see if you're able to overcome the issue. If you're still unable to do it, you can leave a comment, or you can just leave a snippet of your error and the code. I can definitely get back to you with the solution. All right, so this was about the all right, so let's move on with the implementation. So I just have here a very simple barebone Flutter project with the theme, and it's a stateful widget that I'm using, and then I'm using an app bar, which I use this structure in most of my projects or most of my video series. All right, so first thing that we need here is the stream builder. Now if you ask me what a stream builder is, it is a widget that builds itself based on the snapshots of the instructions with the stream. So whenever there is a latest snapshot available, this widget keeps building itself. Now, if you ask me what a stream is basically a source of asynchronous data events. So I'll definitely do a video related or exclusively about stream builders. So as of now, we will see how to implement this. First thing, we will use a stream builder. And the stream builder uses two parameters. The first one is the stream and the second one is the builder. Now inside the stream, we're going to add the Firestore instance. So first thing, firestore.instance. Make sure that you have the package imported here, which is the Cloud Firestore dart. So the first one is Firestore instance dot collection, and here you have to define your collection. So if you look at the Firebase collection part, the details of my collection is post. So this is the detail that I need to provide here. So it's going to be post and then snapshot. That's it. That's the stream. Now moving on to the builder part, it is similar to your Listview builder. So it has a context and then a snapshot. So in my case, it's a snapshot. Now once you have these details, so either your snapshot has some data or it has no data. So depending on this data, we're going to display our list view. So first we will consider a condition stating what if the data is not available. You don't want to leave it blank. So instead what we are going to do is we're going to say it's going to display a message. Say for example a text message stating loading or please wait, something like that. Then next, if some data is available, what do? Then you're going to do a return. So what it's going to return? It's going to return a list view builder. Simple. So in my case, it's going to be a list view builder. So in your case, it could be a grid, it could be some other data table or anything as such. So now inside this list view builder, definitely, you know, whenever you say list view, it'll always have two things. One is the count and the other one is again the builder, which is the item builder. Now count, how do we get the count? The count is basically the number of snapshot documents that you have, which is this one. Let me highlight this section. So these are the list of documents. So we need to get the count of this so that it can display so many list items in your. So first thing, the item count is going to be the snapshot dot data dot document documents dot length. So we have the item count now. Next, moving on to the item builder, it's going to be the context and then index. All right, so now we have to ensure that we get each individual post details. So for that we have something called document snapshot. So I'm going to name this as my post, and this is going to be snapshot dot data dot documents, and you're going to pass the index so that it can fetch the first post value. Next, after this, once you have the post details, you need to build the widget, right? So you need to build your UI part. So here, this is purely now the building part. What we are going to do here is we are going to use a stack. The reason that I'm using a stack is if you look at the UI here, I have this container and you can see this bookmark overlapping it. So I can achieve this overlapping of image or icon only using stack. So I'm going to start with the stack, then add this container inside it with all these details, and this is another container. So I'll show you how to do that as well. All right, so first thing will be the stack. Now inside my stack you will have the array, and inside this I'm going to add a container. Now this is my main container. Now my main container, I'm going to give a width which is going to be the screen width, which would be the media query, and the height I'm just giving a custom height for this, and then I'm gonna add some padding. And I'm also gonna add a material inside this just to give that shadow effect. So I'm following a material, and inside the material I'm gonna add few properties like color, elevation, and some shadow. Inside this I'm gonna place the content. I'm gonna add some padding as well again, and then add the title, image, and the subtitle here. And then inside this, since if you look at the UI, you can see that the details are placed one below the other, so I'm just using a column widget. Now inside this column widget I have individual containers for each parameter. So first one is the image. Now for this I'm gonna give a particular width and height. So the width is same media query width because I want the image to occupy the entire screen, and the height I'm using 200, and then the child here is the image. Now we are using a network image, so let's add the network part, and here I have to get the details from my Firestore. The image details are nothing but it's going to be my post. I'll show you what this my post is, and the parameter inside this will be image. Okay, so if you look at this my post here, this my post is the one that has my individual document values with a particular index. So this is the one, and this image, okay, I think I missed out a quote here. Okay, this image is nothing but this particular field name, this one, image. So similarly subtitle and title, so these values are the ones that are displayed inside the square bracket. So you could see that the first container is their image. Similarly, I'm going to add the title and the subtitle. Well, you could see here that I've used the same my post value, and the parameter inside this is the title. Alright, so I've added the details, that is the image, title, and the subtitle, and I missed out one thing where the stack that returns here. First thing it returns in your children array is your column widget, and then inside that you have a container. I'll tell you in a second why am I using a column widget here. So let me quickly add the closing braces. Okay, so this was the column widget. Now we are done with the first section of the UI, which is the this section and this section. Now we need to just ensure that we add this icon, which looks like it's achieved that overlapping image. So I'll add that and I'll show you how it works. All right, so what I've done here is I've used a main container, and inside the main container I've added this padding. Now this is the one that actually makes sure that your padding comes in this position. So it's another empty container here, and this empty container contains another child container, which is your circle avatar with the icon. So this is the one. So the other one, which is invisible here, because you don't have any content in it, all you have is just the padding, and inside that you have this container. Use this kind of a workaround to get this particular bookmark. In case if you find something interesting or a different solution for this, please do leave a comment. And yeah, so this is how I've used to add this. Alright, so I've built this up and you can see it's working. Now I'm also going to add a new detail, and you will see that it displays immediately here. Alright, so I'm going to log into my Firebase, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new document, because I'm going to add a new article. So for this I'm just going to keep auto ID and the title a sample article. So I'm just keeping it very simple, and then I'm adding a subtitle, and then for the image I'm just going to use the other image value. So alright, so I've added the subtitle and the title. So image, I'm going to quickly add some random image and then click on update. The moment I do this, if you look at the emulator, you would see the article getting added. So that's how real time it is, and it gets immediately synced. So this is how you get your details updated. So if you've seen today's video, you could see that how to set up your Firebase, and I've also shown you how to retrieve data from your Firebase from the Firestore onto your Flutter application, and with this small UI, which is the Listview. And the main part comes here with the stream builder, and then the snapshot and how you add it in your list view. So hope you like this video. If you do, please give it a like. If you find this informative, please do subscribe and share it. Thank you.